What's going on, guys? Ruben Lou here again with another tutorial video for piercers, and specifically one talking about editing photos. And I made a video on how I edit my photos for Instagram and Photoshop, and a few of you were asking about Lightroom. So yeah, let's see what I would do in Lightroom for this photo. And Lightroom is a little bit more user-friendly. So if you're new to editing photos, it will definitely be easier to work with. The only thing is that to me it's a little bit limiting when it comes to certain things. So I'm going to show you basically how I would go about editing this photo. And usually I'll use Lightroom when I'm trying to do like multiple photos, and mostly is because I want to make sure that I have both photos looking exactly the same way. So if I raise the exposure on one and then I go to the next one, I can just do previous and it will do the same effect. Obviously that's not a good effect, so we're gonna go back. And let me first make sure that I find a photo that I really like. And last time we did a photo, it ended up, I'm gonna just show you real quick what it ended up looking like. And this is a photo we edited on Photoshop, and if you haven't checked it out, you can go to my YouTube. Well, obviously if you're watching this video you are on YouTube maybe, but yeah, check it out right there. And yeah, let's keep going. And this is a different perspective and it looks cool. I mean, it looks a little bit not as sharp over here, but overall it seems okay. So maybe the first thing I'll do is get my frame right, and let's just go with something. Maybe I'm gonna do something different, and I'm just gonna try to see how this works. Let's go with something like that for now, and maybe I'll use this to like Photoshop something over here, or maybe I'll even use the other photo. So I don't know right now. So let's just get the temperature right. And you know, this has to do with like what time of day you took the photo. So if it's like a sunset, you might get these sort of tones, so you want to get more onto the cooler side. But basically it just eyeballing like what you think or what you can remember, especially like the skin tones, and also, you know, you got the color gold here and the amethyst, so you want to make sure those look as natural as possible. So I think right there looks pretty good. And then the next thing I'll do is just get the exposure right. So I was talking in the last video about how I underexpose my photos when I take them, and then once I go into some form of editing software, that's when I'll raise the exposure. That way I know for sure that I'm not losing any detail. Contrast, I bump it up a little bit, but not, you don't want to go crazy. You just want to bump it up a tiny bit, maybe like less than 5. So usually I'll do like 3 or something like that. And then here, I think this is like a super important section of Lightroom, and you know, you can really work with your photo here. And usually I don't like highlights so much, so I'll try usually to get the highlights down and get the shadows up. So right away, I mean, you can tell that gives it a nice look. And with the whites, usually, I mean, you're just gonna mess with these a little bit. And if you raise the blacks, that will give you sort of a faded look. So with the blacks, usually you want to go minus, but not too much. In clarity, I've already talked about this in Photoshop. If you go too high, it will look crazy. If you go too low, it will look crazy. Usually you want to go up, but it's sort of, you got to think about these two sort of like contrast and with clarity almost about around the same. Wireframes, I'll bump it up maybe a tiny bit also. And then you have this section again. So same thing here with highlights. And this, so usually I'll go, my scene, I actually don't really know why I do this. So I'm definitely not a professional, and I'm just going by what my workflow has been for the last few years, and maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe if you're better than me at using Lightroom, you can help me out, but this is just sort of like what I do with my photos. So if you're new to this and this helps you, awesome. If you're an expert, you can help me out better my photos, I will definitely gladly take your advice. So here it's looking alright. It feels like it's a little red, so I'm gonna bump down or take down the red a tiny bit. And since we're dealing with amethyst and gold, maybe you wanna get a little bit the yellow up and maybe the purple up a little bit. So alright, that's looking alright. So yeah, like I was saying, to me, Lightroom, I mean, it's great if you're trying to edit a few photos. Like for example, if I'm not too convinced on this one, maybe I can go to this one and just apply the same editing, and you can see that looks alright too. So that's what's helpful about Lightroom. That actually looks pretty nice. But what I'm gonna keep going with this one, and so yeah, at this point I feel a little bit stuck. So what I'll do is use this little brush right here, and I'm gonna try to zoom in on this, and basically I'm just gonna get the amethyst, click there, and basically what this brush is, it just clicks on a section of your photo, and you have different preferences or what's called settings for it. So definitely is way too exposed, so I'm just gonna bump it down a tiny bit, maybe bring the saturation up a little bit, and maybe sharpness also bump it up a little bit. Does that look fake? That looks alright, huh? So yeah, at this point, like I said, I feel like I mean, it looks nice, but I'm not super convinced on it. So usually what I do at this point is just go and open it in Photoshop. Great, so now that I have it in Photoshop, I mean, I'm sort of gonna go through the same process I did with the last photo, and get a little bit of more sharpness out of this. Let's make it bigger. So again, you want to keep it looking natural. I mean, it has to look nice, but not crazy, weird, edited. And when you bring it into Photoshop, you're gonna change the bit. And then I'm gonna go to brightness, and this is sort of the same process I already went through to do the other photo. So if you already watched the other video, that's pretty much it. If you want to stick around, maybe it's just gonna take a couple seconds since I'm already pretty familiar with what I do here in Photoshop. So this just gives it a little bit of fade, not anything crazy, but just a tiny bit. What do you guys think? Think that looks good? I mean, it's not, I don't think it's the best, but I just wanted to show you a quick way to edit your photos. Hopefully this was helpful to you, and if not, I'll keep doing these videos, and again, I'm preparing a class for LVP, so I have to kind of get a couple things ready for my class. So to me, this is actually, I mean, it's cool that these videos might be able to help you, but also it's cool because they help me a lot too. So that was it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and stick around.